the only 6 exercises you need to stay strong after 50. Before we get started, leave a comment below with your name and your biggest training challenge right now. We will do our best to read as many comments as possible. Exercise number 1, mountain climbers. If there is one exercise that delivers a lot in a short amount of time, this is it. Mountain climbers combine core strengthening, cardiovascular endurance, and coordination in a single movement with no equipment needed. After 50, that combination is worth its weight in gold because the heart, balance, and deep abdominal muscles start demanding payment for years of inactivity. And yes, I know the name sounds like something only a rock climber would do. Do not worry, the mountain here is completely imaginary. Studies on dynamic calisthenic exercises show impressive numbers. Exercise physiology research indicates that mountain climbers can raise heart rate to between 70 and 80% of maximum in under a minute, and burn approximately 8 to 10 calories per minute at moderate intensity. In other words, just a few minutes a day already produces a real cardiovascular stimulus. This exercise intensely works the core, the hip flexors, the shoulders, and the chest, which act as stabilizers, while also recruiting the quadriceps and calves during the leg movement. To perform it correctly, start in a high plank position with your hands aligned beneath your shoulders and your body forming a straight line from your head to your heels. From there, bring one knee toward your chest and return it, alternating legs in a controlled rhythm, as if you were running in place with your hands on the ground. Keep your core engaged the entire time. An extra tip: start slow. Speed without control turns into hip swing, and hip swing does not strengthen anyone. A common mistake is raising the hips too high, turning the movement into a sort of inverted letter V. Another is letting the hips sag, which overloads the lower back. In both cases, the core stops working. You will know you are doing it right when you feel your core burning and your breathing accelerating at the same time with no discomfort in the lower back. Do 3 sets of 20 to 30 seconds, resting 45 to 60 seconds between sets. Over time, progress to 40 to 45 seconds per set. It also works very well as a warm-up before the other exercises on this list, raising your body temperature and preparing your joints. Regarding contraindications, anyone with wrist or shoulder injuries or acute lower back pain should avoid this exercise or modify it by placing their hands on an elevated surface, such as a sturdy bench, which significantly reduces the load on those joints. Exercise number 2, farmer's carry. This is probably the most underrated exercise on the list, and perhaps the most important one after 50. The farmer's carry simply consists of carrying weight while walking. It sounds too simple to work, but that simplicity is exactly what makes it so powerful. It builds grip strength, strengthens the core, the trapezius, the forearms and the legs, and trains something you use every single day, carrying heavy things while maintaining good posture. And on this point, the science is definitive. The well-known PURE study, published in the journal The Lancet with more than 139,000 participants from 17 countries, showed that grip strength is one of the greatest predictors of longevity that exists. For every 11 pounds less of hand strength, the risk of death from any cause increased by 16%, and the risk of cardiovascular events rose by 17%. In other words, strong hands are directly linked to a longer life, and few exercises build that strength as directly as the farmer's carry. To perform it correctly, grab 2 equal weights, which can be dumbbells, gallon water jugs, or reinforced bags of the same weight. Lift them from the ground by squatting down, not by rounding your back. Stand tall with your chest open, shoulders slightly back, and eyes looking forward. Then walk in a straight line with firm, controlled steps, keeping your core engaged. An extra tip: think about making yourself as tall as possible while you walk, as if a string were pulling the top of your head upward. That automatically corrects your posture. A mistake I see many people make is tilting the torso to one side as the weight gets heavier, or shrugging the shoulders toward the ears. The shoulders stay down and back, always. Do 3 to 4 sets of 30 to 40 yards of walking, resting 60 to 90 seconds between sets. Progress by increasing the distance before increasing the weight. A recommendation: choose a weight that challenges you without compromising your posture. If your back rounds halfway through the walk, the weight is too heavy for where you are right now. And do not worry, a heavy grocery bag counts as unofficial training. As a contraindication, anyone with abdominal or inguinal hernias or uncontrolled blood pressure should speak with a doctor first, as carrying heavy loads temporarily raises blood pressure. Exercise number 3, Bulgarian split squat. If you want truly strong legs after 50, you need to train each leg separately. The Bulgarian split squat does exactly that. It strengthens the quadriceps, glutes, and hamstrings in a unilateral fashion, while also challenging balance and proprioception, 2 capacities that decline with age and are fundamental for preventing falls. Real life is unilateral. Climbing stairs, getting into a car, getting up from the floor. Everything happens with one leg doing most of the work at a time. This exercise intensely works the quadriceps and the gluteus maximus of the front leg, with important contribution from the hamstrings and hip stabilizers. And here's an important note. The hamstrings are a muscle group that is frequently neglected compared to the quadriceps, and that imbalance between the front and back of the thigh is one of the most common causes of knee injuries. Movements like this one help restore that balance. To perform it correctly, stand with your back to a bench, couch, or sturdy chair about 1 step away. Rest the top of one foot on the surface behind you. With your torso slightly leaning forward and your core tight, lower yourself by bending the front knee until the front thigh is close to parallel with the floor. Then push through your front foot to rise back up. An extra tip: almost all of your weight should be on the front leg. The back leg is just a support, not the main player. A common mistake is standing too close to the bench, which pushes the front knee well past the toes and creates discomfort. Another is letting the knee collapse inward during the upward phase. The knee should always point in the direction of the foot. Do 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions per leg, resting 60 seconds between sets. In the beginning, hold onto something stable for balance. Over time, progress from 8 to 12 repetitions before adding weight in your hands. You will know you're doing it right when you feel the quadriceps and glute of the front leg burning and not pain in the knee. Regarding contraindications, anyone with acute knee pain, advanced osteoarthritis, or serious balance problems should start with partial squats supported by a chair, and only then progress to the Bulgarian version. Exercise number 4, glute bridge. Here's a fact that 99% of people do not know. The gluteus maximus is the largest muscle in the human body, and yet it is one of the most neglected, especially among men. The problem is that weak glutes come with a cost. They are responsible for stabilizing the pelvis, and when they do not do their job, the lower back picks up the slack. A large portion of lower back pain after 50 is directly related to glutes that have been dormant for decades of sitting. The science confirms the efficiency of this movement. Electromyography studies, such as those conducted by Boren and colleagues, showed that the glute bridge activates the gluteus maximus at around 25 to 40% of maximum voluntary contraction, and the single leg version can surpass 50%, numbers comparable to loaded exercises. But without overloading the spine, there is more. Keeping the largest muscle in the body well developed increases your caloric burn at rest and enhances the effect of excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, that extra oxygen uptake that keeps the metabolism elevated after training. To perform it correctly, lie on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor, hip-width apart. With your arms at your sides, press through your heels and lift your hips until your body forms a straight line from your knees to your shoulders. Squeeze your glutes hard at the top for 1 to 2 seconds. Then lower slowly, taking advantage of the eccentric phase of the movement. An extra tip: think about pushing the floor away from you, not about lifting your hips. That simple mental shift increases glute muscle recruitment. A common mistake is raising the hips too high and arching the lower back, transferring the work to the back. Another is performing the movement too quickly without a pause at the top. Do 3 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions, resting 45 to 60 seconds. Progress from 2 to 3 sets, then move on to the single leg version. It is an extremely safe exercise, but anyone experiencing an acute episode of lower back pain or a symptomatic herniated disc should seek clearance from a professional first. Exercise number 5, push-ups. The good old push-up remains one of the best tests and builders of upper body strength. After 50, it becomes even more important because it preserves pushing strength, which is essential for daily tasks and even for breaking a fall with your arms. Regular practitioners are able to maintain upper body strength levels comparable to people decades younger. And the best part? Your only equipment is the floor, which has never charged me a membership fee. This exercise intensely works the chest, the triceps, and the front portion of the shoulders, while also requiring constant isometric engagement of the core, functioning almost like a plank in motion. What many people do not know is that the chest does much more than push things forward. It participates in internal shoulder rotation and shoulder flexion, meaning keeping it strong improves arm function as a whole. To perform it correctly, place your hands on the floor slightly wider than shoulder width apart, with your body in a straight line from your head to your heels. Before lowering yourself, perform scapular retraction, meaning gently squeeze your shoulder blades together behind your back. That detail protects the shoulders and is what separates a safe push-up from one that causes injury. Lower your chest toward the floor in a controlled manner and press back up until your arms are extended. An extra tip: lower yourself over 2 to 3 seconds. The well-executed eccentric phase represents a huge portion of the hypertrophy potential of this movement. A common mistake is letting the elbows flare out completely to the sides, forming a letter T with the body, which stresses the shoulders. Keep your elbows at roughly a 45-degree angle from your torso. Another mistake is cutting the range of motion short, only going halfway down. Also pay attention to your neck. Many people project their head toward the floor as if the chin wants to arrive first. Keep the neck neutral, looking at a point slightly in front of your hands. Do 3 sets of 8 to 15 repetitions. If you cannot yet do them on the floor, start with your hands on a table or wall and progress by gradually lowering the height of the support. Then move from 8 to 15 repetitions before seeking any other progression. As a contraindication, anyone with wrist injuries can use dumbbells as handles to keep the wrists straight, and anyone with an acute shoulder injury should treat it before loading their own body weight. Exercise number 6. Dead hang. The dead hang is simply hanging from a bar. That is it. And perhaps because it is so simple, almost no one does it. A shame, because few exercises deliver so much for the shoulders, spine, and hands at the same time. Hanging decompresses the spine, which spends the entire day being compressed by gravity, stretches the chest and the latissimus dorsi, improves shoulder mobility, and builds that grip strength, which, as you have already seen, is directly linked to longevity. The numbers here are worth paying attention to. Orthopedic physician John Kirsch conducted research with 92 patients who had shoulder pain, many of them already scheduled for surgery. After a daily protocol of bar hanging exercises, approximately 90% reported significant improvement, and the vast majority avoided surgery entirely. The simple act of hanging remodels the subacromial space of the shoulder, relieving the friction that causes pain in so many people after 50. This exercise works grip strength in the forearms and hands, while stretching and mobilizing the shoulders, chest, latissimus dorsi, and the entire posterior chain. To perform it correctly, grab a fixed bar with your hands at shoulder width or slightly wider, palms facing forward. Let your body hang with your arms extended, feet off the ground, and your body relaxed. Breathe calmly and simply hold the position. An extra tip: if holding your full body weight is difficult at first, keep the tips of your toes on the ground or on a small step, taking some weight off. You still receive most of the benefits. A common mistake is shrugging the shoulders up toward the ears with excessive tension in the neck. Let the shoulders stretch naturally. Another is holding your breath. Start by accumulating 30 seconds total per day, even if it takes several attempts of 5 to 10 seconds each. Progress until you can accumulate 60 to 90 seconds daily. And you do not need a gym for this. A door frame pull-up bar, which costs very little and installs in minutes, or the bars at any outdoor fitness park work perfectly. Regarding contraindications, anyone with recurring shoulder dislocations, acute rotator cuff injuries, or elbow tendonitis during a flare-up should seek a professional evaluation before hanging. You have made it through the 6 main exercises, but I also set aside 2 bonus exercises that complete this routine. Bonus exercise number 1, dead bug. The name means dead bug, and the image is exactly that. You lying on your back, moving your arms and legs like an upturned beetle. I promise the effectiveness makes up for the lack of glamour. The dead bug is one of the best exercises in the world for the deep core, and core training is fundamental for spinal stability and injury prevention. The difference between it and the traditional crunch is that here you learn to keep the spine stable while the arms and legs move, which is exactly what life demands of you all the time. This exercise works the transverse abdominis, the rectus abdominis, and the obliques, while also training coordination between both sides of the body, a skill that protects your brain and your balance as the years go by. And before you ask, no abdominal exercise on its own reveals a defined midsection. Exercises like the dead bug strengthen and can promote hypertrophy in that musculature, but definition depends primarily on body fat percentage, which is controlled by diet. The famous six-pack is the result of developed abdominal muscles combined with low body fat on top of them. To perform it correctly, lie on your back, with your arms extended pointing toward the ceiling and your knees bent at 90 degrees with your shins parallel to the floor. Press your lower back into the ground. From there, slowly extend your right arm back behind your head and your left leg forward without letting your lower back lift off the floor. Return and repeat on the opposite side. An extra tip: exhale as you extend your limbs. The exhale helps keep the core contracted and the lower back pressed against the floor. A common mistake is performing the movement too quickly. The dead bug is an exercise of control, not speed. If the lower back arches, shorten the range of motion until you build enough strength. Do 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions per side, resting 45 seconds between sets. Progress from 2 to 3 sets and then increase the repetitions. A recommendation: It is an excellent entry point for anyone who feels discomfort with traditional crunches, precisely because the lower back remains supported and protected throughout the entire movement. It is one of the safest exercises that exists with no relevant contraindications. Anyone who feels neck discomfort can rest their head on a folded towel. Bonus exercise number 2, calf raises. What many people do not know is that the calf is considered the second heart of the human body. With every contraction, it pumps blood from the legs back up to the heart, working against gravity. Weak calves mean poorer circulation, swollen legs, and more fatigue. And there is more. They play a leading role in balance. Every small adjustment your body makes to avoid falling passes through the ankles and calves. Strengthening them is one of the most direct ways to prevent falls after 50, and falls are one of the greatest enemies of independence at this stage of life. This exercise works the gastrocnemius and the soleus, the two muscles that form the calf, as well as the ankle stabilizers. To perform it correctly, the ideal is to use a step. Place the balls of your feet on the edge, letting your heels hang off and below the level of the step. This increases the range of motion and muscle recruitment. Rise up on the balls of your feet as high as you can, hold for 1 second at the top, then lower slowly, feeling the stretch at the bottom. Hold onto a railing or wall for balance. An extra tip, vary your foot position between sets, with feet parallel, toes slightly turned out, and toes slightly turned in. Each position emphasizes different portions of the muscle. A common mistake is performing the movement short and fast, bouncing through it. Without full range of motion, you leave most of the results on the table. Remember that time under tension matters. Rising in 1 second and lowering over 2 to 3 seconds yields far more than dozens of rushed repetitions. Since the calf is a predominantly slow twitch muscle, it responds better to longer sets. Do 3 to 4 sets of 15 to 20 repetitions, resting 45 seconds. Progress from 15 to 20 repetitions before adding weight. Regarding contraindications, anyone dealing with Achilles tendonitis or plantar fasciitis in an acute phase should start on flat ground, without the step, and with a reduced range of motion, progressing as the pain allows. If you enjoyed this and want to check out the 10 things that force your body to build muscle after 50, we left a video appearing on the screen right now showing each one of them in more detail. It is free, so make sure you check it out. Thank you for watching all the way through, and may God bless you, my friend.